Done properly, weaves or weft hair extensions should not damage healthy hair. But that answer comes with some important caveats. Because when people say, my weave damaged my hair, what they usually mean is one of a few things. Either the method was wrong for their hair, the fitting was poor, the extensions were too heavy, maintenance was neglected, or removal was handled badly. And those are all different issues. So if you're wondering whether weaves or weft hair extensions are automatically damaging, the honest answer is no. But they're absolutely not the best method for every single hair type. And that's where the honesty really matters, because no one wants thicker, longer hair if the hidden cost is damaging what's underneath. And that's a completely fair concern. So what actually causes these problems? Because where the misconception is that the method itself is to blame, when in reality, it's usually the decision making around that method. Because weave is such a broad term, that could mean anything from a sewing weave, a beaded weft, an LA weave, a hidden weave, a nano weave, a hand-tied weft, a flat weft, a machine weft, and all of those are not identical experiences. So saying weaves damage hair is a bit like saying cars are unreliable. Some are, but some are absolutely not. And that context really matters. So the biggest risk factors tend to be too much tension, too much weight, poor fitting, poor sectioning, incorrect placement, leaving them in too long, poor aftercare, or choosing a method that just simply isn't right for your hair. So let's start with the suitability, because this is where a lot of problems can begin. Weaves are fantastic on the right hair, and if someone has a healthy density, decent strength and enough natural hair to support the method properly, wefts can work beautifully. But if someone has very fine, fragile, breaking or naturally low density hair, a heavier row-based method is not always the smartest option. That doesn't mean that weaves are bad, it means the method matching matters more. Because if you put too much weight onto hair that cannot comfortably support it, that strain's going to add up over time, and that strain is where the trouble starts. That's why a good stylist should be looking at your natural density, your scalp sensitivity, your hair strength, your lifestyle, how you wear your hair, and how much volume you actually want, whether your expectations are realistic. Because wanting dramatic waist-length hair and having enough hair to safely support it are not always the same thing. So that's not to cause offence, it's just biology. And then there's the fitting. This is where a lot of hair extension horror stories come from. If rows are fitted too tightly, too high a tension, poorly balanced, placed badly, or carrying too much weight, you can absolutely end up with uncomfortable damage. People describe things like, my scalp hurts, it feels heavy, I couldn't sleep properly, it feels like it's pulling. That's not what a healthy fitting should feel like. A correctly fitted weave might feel noticeable at first, that's completely normal, but painful, no. Consistently sore, also no. If it feels like medieval punishment every time you move your head, then something is off. And then we've got maintenance. Because even the most beautiful fitting can become problematic if it's neglected. As your natural hair grows, the structure moves, the attachment points shift, and weight distribution changes. Brushing gets trickier, tension increases in the wrong places, and leave them too long, you increase the chance of matting, tangling near the roots, discomfort, extra pulling, stress on the natural hair. And that's not because weaves are damaging, that's because overdue maintenance creates these avoidable problems. Then we move on to aftercare. This gets underestimated constantly. Extensions do not behave like your own hair growing from your scalp. They need different care, and that means correct brushing, gentle washing with the correct aftercare products, section blow drying, hydration, detangling, heat protection, and definitely not sleeping with wet hair, because that's always going to end up badly. And then we move on to the hair quality itself, because not all hair extensions are the same quality. The construction isn't always equal, and not all salons fit to the same standard. So someone saying I had weaves and they ruined my hair tells you almost nothing without context, because we need to know what type, how heavy, how fitted, how maintained, how cared for, how removed, by who. All of those things do matter. Now, can weaves cause hair thinning or traction damage? Yes, potentially. If the wrong method is used, if the fitting is poor, if the weight is excessive, tension chronic, or maintenance is ignored. That's where damage risk becomes real. But there's a big difference from saying the method itself is inherently damaging, because healthy hair with correct fitting, sensible weight, and proper maintenance are a completely different scenario. So the honest answer is weave and weft extensions are not automatically damaging. It's bad fittings, poor decisions, unsuitable method choice, excessive tension, and poor maintenance that usually create those horror stories. So if you've been worried because of scary stories online, hopefully this helps clear things up properly. So if you've got more questions about weaves and wefts, you can check out more of our Q&A videos to answer all those questions. And of course, if there's something that we haven't answered, please do get in touch. We're more than happy to help.